Even mental ones? Especially mental ones. Gideon plucked something in the air like a guitar string. See that? Someone over there is a telepath. Parissa, probably, if what Tristan implied was correct. Though Nico doubted that particular ward was her doing. It must have been a thread within a larger shield against telepathy, which made sense. Not every variety of theft required a corporeal form of entry. He glanced up, looking for a camera, or the iteration of one, and spotted it in the corner. Well, Nico said, pointing to it, try not to say anything too incriminating. Gideon looked over his shoulder, shrugging. I haven't got much to say, to tell you the truth. A pause, and then, Eva's vows de problemas. Tout va bien. Si estoy bien. I don't... Anyone watching could probably translate, but this wasn't really the point. I suppose we shouldn't do this too often then. Gideon inclined his head in apparent agreement. You're not properly sleeping when I'm here, he pointed out, and judging by his place's security, you're going to need all your energy. Yes, Nico sighed, probably. Is Libby there? Yes, somewhere, he grimaced, though you're not supposed to know that. Well, it's more of a lucky guess, really, Gideon tilted his head. You're being really nice to her, aren't you? I'm always nice, and don't tell me what to do. Gideon's smile broadened. Tu me manques. I'm just gonna not read these parts because I don't know how to pronounce them. He said, Max hasn't noticed you're gone, of course. Of course not. A pause. Strange, without you around. I know, not really. I didn't feel real yet, but it would soon. Is it quiet at least? Yes, and I don't like quiet, Gideon said, making me suspect my mother's going to surface from the garbage disposal. She won't. We had a talk. Did you? Well, yeah, she surprised me in the bath, said Nico, so I'd say she's fairly well persuaded. Or something close enough, he said grimly. Nicholas, Gideon said, I'm only trying to... He broke off as the bars warped, Gideon's face disappearing. He opened his eyes to jarring darkness. Someone's shaking him awake. There's someone here, said a voice he didn't recognize for a moment, and Nico groggily struggled to sit upright. What? It's just my friend. He's not in your head. It was Raina's voice. He realized, adjusting to make out the general shape of her face in the dark. There's someone in the house. How do you... There are plants in every room. They woke me. She was using a tone that sounded like stop talking. Someone is trying to get inside if they aren't here already. What do you want me to do? I don't know, she said, brows creased. Something? Nico reached over, pressing a hand to the floor to feel the wood pulse beneath his palm. Vibrations, he said. There's definitely someone here. I know that. I told you. Well, better if he could take care of this alone, or close to alone. Raina had probably done him a favor waking him first. But he'd said he wouldn't do things alone. Wake Rose, Nico said, on second thought, rising up to his feet. She's in the last room on the right. I know. Raina was gone quickly without asking questions. Nico crept out into the house, listening for a moment. Libby was better at listening. She was more attuned to waves of things, usually sound and speed, so he gave up and started feeling instead. He could sense the disruption from somewhere downstairs. The middle door opened, revealing Parissa in the frame. You're thinking very loudly, she informed him with palpable distaste as Libby emerged from her room. Shouldn't we wake? What's going on? Demanded Callum, bursting from his room. Someone's in the house, said Nico. Who? Said Libby and Callum in unison. Someone, replied Nico and Raina. Many someones, Parissa corrected. She was holding a hand to the wall. There are at least 3 compromised access points. She's right, said Raina. I know I'm right, Parissa growled. Has anyone woken Tristan? Asked Libby, looking predictably fretful. You do it, said Parissa disinterestedly. No, Nico said. Rose is coming with me. What? Said Libby, Parissa and Callum. You heard me, said Nico, gesturing for Libby to follow. Raina, wake Tristan and tell him to follow. Rose, stay close. She gave him a glare of don't boss me around, but he had already started moving. A good thing he had to. It was almost immediate from the time they emerged onto the gallery landing. Get down, Nico hissed, tugging Libby to the floor as someone shot overhead, aimed from the entry hall up to the vaulted landing of the second floor. It was much larger than a bullet, so probably not deadly. Something for temporary immobilization, most likely, which most magical weapons tended to be, but they were expensive and not particularly useful when fired upon an unknown target, which gave Nico pause. Probably a test, said Callum, is something of a low drawl. some tactic to scare us into working together. Possibly, Nico thought, though he didn't particularly want to agree with Callum aloud. Cover me, he said to Libby. Fine, she said, grimacing. Keep your head down. Every year, NYUMA held a tournament for the physical specialties. Something akin to the game of capture the flag, but with fewer rules and more allowances. He and Libby had never been on the same team, almost always facing off in the final round, but all the games were essentially the same. Someone attacked while someone else covered. Nico rose to his feet while Libby conjured a thin bubble of protection around him, manipulating the molecular substances of the air in immediate vicinity. The world was mostly entropy and chaos. Magic then was order. Because it was controlled, Nico and Libby could change the materials around them. They could take the universe's compulsion to fill a vacuum and bend it, warp it, alter it. The fact that they were natural energy sources, twin storage units with massive electrical charge, meant they could not only harness the energy required for an explosion, but they could clear the path of least resistance for it too. Still, even batteries had their limits. Since single combat was an excellent way to waste a lot of time and energy, so Nico opted to cast a wider net. He altered the direction of friction in the room, sending the entry room's occupants into the furthest wall, helpfully a thin tendril of plant scrapped out to twine around them, holding fast. Thanks, Raina, said Nico, exhaling as he returned the balance of the force in the room. Libby's shield bubble dissipated. Is that all? She asked. No, said Percy. There's someone in the east wing. And the library, said Raina, before amending irritably. The painted room. Which one? Demanded Callum. Are you planning to be useful at all? Raina encountered, glaring. If I felt there was any way to be concerned, I probably would be, replied Callum, as it is. Why waste the effort? What's going on? Asked Tristan, who had apparently managed the decency to join them. Blakely's testing us, said Callum. You don't know that, Libby said, beneath the gallery corridor, and sound of further entry was imminent, and she had her brows knitted in concentration. It might be real. What do you want me to do with these? Raina asked, pointing to the men wriggling within the vines of their captivity.